Come, let us fix our eyes on Jesus. This is Unpopular Theology, episode 73. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different as I start my new series on the Catechism. So before we get started, go ahead and hit the like button, go ahead and subscribe, go over to our Facebook page, like us over there, post new content there at the beginning of each month, at the end of each month, and at the end of each week with these videos. And with that being said, as you can see, I'm back in Wisconsin, and then to throw you off a little bit more, I'll be back in Minnesota next week for fall break. So and with that being said, exploring the people's Bible. This is Unpopular Theology. So what is a catechism? Well, a catechism is a book printed out by a denomination, usually a denomination, that really tells the people of the denomination what they believe. It's supposed to be a summary of biblical doctrine. And obviously I would say that the best summary of biblical doctrine would be Luther's Small Catechism. Some famous examples of catechisms, the three most famous I can think of are in the Catholic Church, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, Luther's Small Catechism, which I have right here, and the Westminster Shorter Catechism. And so, what a catechism is it's usually formed in the form of questions and answers. So in the Catholic Church, if I remember their catechism correctly, it's a question and then it has the doctrinal answer. That's the official statement of the church. Westminster Shorter Catechism it has like a numbering system of questions. So the first question is, what is the chief end of man? Answer is that the chief end of man is to serve God and enjoy Him forever. Then we have Luther's Small Catechism, which is a little bit different. So the actual catechism itself is put this way: what is the first commandment? You shall have no other gods. What does this mean? Then the answer is we should fear, love, and trust in God above all things. So that's really what sets Luther's Small Catechism apart. Luther called this the people's Bible. So the way Luther thought was people can't really read Scripture, but they can memorize these short summaries of biblical doctrine. And so he includes the Creed, 10 Commandments first, then the Apostles' Creed, then the Lord's Prayer, then I believe it's baptism, communion, and confession, and there's a few other minor things in there. And then we have the explanation of the catechism that gets put out by CPH every time they feel the need to change it. That's why we get a different edition in 2006 as opposed to 2017. And we won't go over those questions and answers. We're going to focus on what Luther actually wrote in his catechism here. And so the way I'm going to go about this is I'm going to read, when we do these episodes, I will read the catechism. I will talk about what it means. I might have to dig out the large catechism. Yes, so there is a large catechism for those of you who ask, well, if there's a small catechism, where is the large one? It exists. Gives a little bit more detail. And then I'll talk about, what it means and how do we as Christians apply this to our daily lives. So this is the catechism. I'm excited to start learning this. So the way this is going to work is every week for however long it takes, with a few exceptions for Reformation Day, and then episodes for church history and whatnot. The way it will work is I'll start off the video by reading the first commandment, for example, doing the what does this mean part, and then going into the explanation, seeing how long that takes. It looks like these videos are going to be a little bit more brief. It might be a little longer for the Creed, so we'll spend somewhere between 9 and 11 weeks on the commandments, because quite frankly the 9th and 10th commandment can be lumped together. I'll talk about the numbering system too when we get to that. Then there's also the close of the commandments. Then 3 weeks on the Apostles' Creed, because that is fairly simple, 3 articles. Then 8 weeks on the Lord's Prayer. No, 9 weeks on the Lord's Prayer. And then who knows how long on baptism and confession, and also the sacrament of the altar. Maybe I could do a thing on daily prayer. Let's see. Then table of duties. It's a possibility. So yeah, there's all kinds of things that I can do in here. So yeah, this video is quite short. Sorry about that. Not a whole lot of prep for this one. So yeah, this pretty much wraps it up for this week. Let me just check something here. So next week, I'm going to be starting on the first commandment and what it means to have a God. So, till next week, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus.